Dev Patel makes his directorial debut with Monkey Man, and it's one of my favorite movies of the year. Hey everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Before I dive into my review, make sure to comment down below and let me know if you've seen the movie and whether or not you enjoyed it. Monkey Man was a movie that wasn't on my radar to begin the year, but as promotion started to ramp up for the movie, as that first trailer dropped, I was immediately on board with this thing, excited to check it out. Dev Patel is someone I've admired for years now as an actor. He's proven to be capable of excelling in many genres, and he just has a screen presence that begs for your attention. So naturally, it was cool to hear that he was expanding his skill set and stepping behind the camera this time for his directorial debut. Not to mention that he also stars in the movie and wrote the movie and produced the movie. In terms of directorial debuts, this is one of the most exciting first outings, especially of an actor turned director, that I've seen in quite some time. It's been made abundantly clear that Monkey Man was a passion project for Patel, and it's also been heavily documented that he was put through the ringer to bring this movie to life. Broken bones, pandemic delays, changes in distributors. There's a point where this movie was initially supposed to be released on Netflix until Netflix dropped distribution completely, and Jordan Peele then stepped in and said that it would be a massive disservice to the movie to dump it on a streamer, and him and his production company Monkey Paw Productions got involved, and they brought this thing back to life, and they were able to give it that theatrical distribution. And I'm so glad that things played out the way that they did, as rough and as grueling as the process was, because this is a movie that begs to be seen on the big screen. A lot of comparisons with Monkey Man have already been made to John Wick, and while there are some similarities with the way that the action is choreographed and a lot of the visual palette is the same, as well as it being the fact that this is also a revenge thriller action movie, that's about the extent of where the comparisons lie. But that's only scratching the surface of what Monkey Man is. This is a revenge thriller, but it's also much more than that. I think what makes this movie so compelling is that with all of its standard genre elements, it's also equally, if not more so, focused on telling a story that influences the action that's deeply rooted in Patel's upbringing, being his culture, his faith, the lore of Indian mythology. It feels like a celebration of his lineage as much as it is this blood-soaked revenge tale about righting the wrongs of your past. I also love that Patel's character is scrappy and very unorthodox in his approach. He's inexperienced and kind of learning as the film goes along. To complement that, I believe that the way the movie was constructed, it starts off a bit shaky, but really settles in as the character does. We don't know much of the lead character outside of the imagery that's interspersed of the events that happened to him as a child that are fueling his revenge. We don't even know his name. He's just referred to as Kid or Monkey Man. But I also think the movie does a great job at showing his brokenness as a man and how his identity is almost entirely formed from what he's lost. There isn't a need to establish where he's at in life currently because it's shown visually. And while the movie is heavily influenced by Indian culture, diving into casteism as well as the different class structures and really putting an emphasis on the folklore, especially surrounding Hanuman and what his figure meant to those people, it's all told in a way that's digestible for a much wider audience. It doesn't lose its depth by making it more accessible, but it explores everything in a way that people like me can feel like they're learning something and still able to follow what's going on narratively. And obviously the action is a major player here. It's raw, it's visceral, it's chaotic in all of the best ways. Dev Patel said that he took major inspiration from Korean cinema, Bollywood action films, and even the Rocky franchise to a certain degree. And you can definitely see all of that inspiration at play, but there's never a moment to where it just feels like it's playing all of the greatest hits from films before. It still very much does its own thing. And the choreography here is exceptional. Every punch, every kick, every stabbing feels real. So real that it hurts at times to watch. And every sequence is filmed in a way to where you feel like you're present in the action and close enough to see everything going on, but it's shot at a distance that still allows you to take in the environment. The camera also moves in a lot of creative ways to add more life to each set piece to keep it from feeling stale. Now, there are a few moments throughout the movie to where it switches from a wide shot to a POV angle to where it looks like the camera is strapped to the people involved in the fight. And while it worked to an extent, it also could have a tendency to be a bit jarring and inconsistent. I think the major issue is that those POV shots are very few and far between, so when they actually do happen, it just throws you off a bit. I would also say that it's not nearly as action heavy as the promotion would lead you to believe. There are definitely a few long drawn out sequences of pure adrenaline fueled mayhem, but as I mentioned earlier, this movie is much more character focused and prioritizes a deeper narrative much more than you'd expect. In fact, the second act is almost entirely this methodical, character-driven narrative with very few moments of action in the mix. I'd say that's also my biggest issue with the movie. Now, as a whole, I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the action and I enjoyed the exploration of the culture, but at the same time, it can be a bit slow, especially in that second act. I think that's where you can see the lack of experience the most from Dev Patel as a director, because you can tell he just hasn't found all of the best ways to make a story flow yet. He has all the basics down, he's got the vision, but he's still rough around the edges. Those instincts will only come with time, and that's not a knock against him as a director by any means. He still did an incredible job as a whole, but if I had to pinpoint any negatives, that's immediately what comes to mind. But overall, I really couldn't have asked for a better experience. Even with the flaws, there's a sense of sheer passion throughout that fuels this movie that makes it easy to overlook the things that could have been better, because you know that there was so much time and dedication put in to making Monkey Man what it is. It really has a lot to say, and I admire Dev Patel's dedication to making a movie that is both an in-your-face, action-packed theatrical experience, but also something that honors his culture and his faith and where he comes from. You can tell he's proud of his culture and he takes just as much pride in his work, and that all translates extremely well in Monkey Man. I'm very excited to see where he goes next, especially considering this movie was obviously very personal to him, so it'll be interesting to see how he branches out from here, but I can promise you this, I will be there day one for anything he does next. So with all that being said, I'm gonna have to give Monkey Man an 8 out of 10.
I like it a lot.
But guys, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, make sure to comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on Monkey Man. Also, tell me, what do you think is the best directorial debut for an actor turned director? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. Guys, if you would, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace out.